Hello, good evening. I hope you're all doing fine. Welcome to, I think, the seventh class. We are making some progress. So we'll pick it up from where we left yesterday. This week we have been looking at the process of cleaning data. And yesterday we looked at the first aspect of data cleaning, which is outliers. So we looked at some of the several methods you can use to detect outliers in a data set. We looked at the use of visuals, particularly the scatter plot. We also looked at the interquartile range, that is IQR, and the Z score, particularly using the standardized function in Excel. We also started looking at how we deal with outliers after identifying them, and we looked at deletion as one of the methods and transforming the data, particularly a column that contains outliers. So today we'll pick up from there and we look at the other method we can use to deal with outliers, which is treating them as missing values. Maybe we look at how we deal with missing values, maybe tomorrow or next week. So let me share my screen. Great. I hope my screen is visible for each one and every one of us. So if you can't see the screen or you can't hear me clearly, please let me know as we proceed. So yesterday we looked at one of the method of dealing with outliers, which is completely removing them or removing the rows that contain the outliers from the data set. Although it's a very common practice, it's not always the best solution, especially when the outliers are valid data points you don't want to miss out, because deleting them will, by deleting them, you lose some of the important information. So in cases where removing the outliers might not be applicable or appropriate, you can treat outliers as missing values. So this approach will help you to retain the original data while flagging outliers for further investigation or special treatment during the analysis. So by treating them, the outliers as missing values, you can mitigate the impact of these extreme values on statistical measures and models, ensuring more robust and reliable results. So some of the cases where treating outliers as missing values is more applicable include when the outliers are suspected to be valid data points. So in this case, by removing them, you lose valuable information. Also, when the data set is small, and removing outliers would significantly reduce the sample size, which would potentially affect the statistical power of the analysis. Also, when the distribution of the data is of interest, and removing outliers would distort the distribution characteristics of the data set. So those are some of the cases where you can consider treating the outliers as missing values over completely removing them or deleting them from the data set. Uh, all you need to do to achieve this is to, after identifying the outliers, you replace them with something like a missing value indicator, ideally the NA, to indicate it's a missing value in that data set. You can achieve this using the find and replace method that we looked at yesterday. So once you have replaced the outliers with missing value indicator, you can handle these missing values using Excel inbuilt functions or data analysis. We look later how we deal with missing values. So it's also good practice to document the changes in this case, including the outlier replacement. That is for, again, transparency and reproducibility of your analysis results. Point to note, always remember to consider the context of your data and the analysis you are performing when deciding how to treat outliers, or whether to treat outliers as missing values. So, for instance, this approach of treating outliers as missing values is not suitable for all datasets and may require further validation and sensitivity analysis. So, what are some of the best practices to observe when dealing or when handling outliers? So first, dealing with outliers requires careful consideration and an understanding of the data and the specific analysis or modeling technique being used. As I mentioned earlier, the very first step you should pay attention to is understanding your data set, comprehensively understanding the structure, also the need for your analysis, or ideally everything to do with that data set before deciding on how to clean it, what you need to clean, and the method that you will use. The nature of your data set plays a key role in determining the method that you can implement to clean the data set. Yeah. So some of the best practices include, first, you need to understand the data. So it is important to have a deeper understanding of the data, its context, and the domain knowledge before dealing with outliers. Uh, this includes understanding the data generating processes, the measurement errors or biases that might have occurred, and the expected range of values for each variable. So understanding the data can help in identifying and interpreting outliers are more appropriately. So you can, another best practice is using multiple detection techniques. Using a single technique might not be sufficient uh, to detect outliers. So adopting this approach can help identify potential outliers from different perspectives and increase the accuracy of outlier detection. Also, it's good to consider the impact of the outliers. So some outliers in this case might carry important information or represent genuine anomalies in data, while others may be measurement errors or data entry errors. So understanding the impact of outliers can help in deciding the appropriate handling technique. And with that, in a data set and deal with them effectively. So with that, we can move to another concept in data cleaning, which is dealing with duplicates. In some cases, you might work with a data set with duplicate rows, in rare cases, duplicate columns, or duplicate values that ideally are supposed to be unique, maybe the emails. So duplicates are referred to identical or very similar data entries that exist within a data set. So these entries can occur in various forms, such as duplicate rows, duplicate columns, and duplicate values within a column. So duplicate rows occur when all the values in two or more rows are identical. That is considered as a duplicate row. For instance, maybe you have a data set containing information about customers, and two rows have exact same values for all the attributes, or in other words, columns, e.g. maybe the name, the address, phone number, all the three columns having identical values. That can be considered as a duplicate row. On the other hand, duplicate columns refer to columns that contain the same information or have the same values for all records. These duplicate columns may not always be problematic. However, they can increase the complexity of the data set and make it harder to analyze. So in case you have a duplicate column, it's good to remove it. So also duplicate values within a column occur when the same value is repeated in multiple rows of that particular column. For instance, if a dataset contains a column for product ID, which because it's an identifier, it is supposed to be unique for all the entries. So in this case, where if two or more rows have the same product ID, these rows are considered duplicates in terms of that particular column. But for other values that doesn't need to be unique, maybe let's say customer name, we can have two customers with similar names. That doesn't mean it's a duplicate. You only consider duplicate value if the value is supposed to be unique. An example is maybe the product ID and maybe emails. We all know no two email accounts can be exactly the same. So if you have two similar emails, that can be considered as a duplicated. It might indicate the whole row containing those emails, those two rows or more than two rows are duplicates. So what are some of the importance of removing duplicates in a data set? So for one, duplicate entries can distort the true representation of the data, which will lead to inaccurate analysis and incorrect conclusions. So by removing these duplicates, we'll ensure that each data point is unique and accurately reflects the underlying information. Also, duplicate data can waste storage space and computing resources. Also, these duplicate entries can lead to errors in analysis, such as double counting or incorrect aggregation. Also, duplicate data can skew data visualization results, leading to misleading charts, graphs, etc. So by removing these duplicates, it will help you in creating more accurate and meaningful visualizations that accurately represent the data. Also, it will help improve the overall quality of data, and also duplicate entries can create inconsistencies in data sets, making it challenging to maintain data integrity. So in this case, removing these duplicates helps in ensuring that the data is consistent and reliable for analysis. So that's some of the key reasons why identifying and removing duplicates in a data set is important. So what are some of the methods we use to identify duplicate rows? One method you can use, very simple and straightforward, but only applicable for small data sets, is visual inspection. You can you can use your eyes to scan through the data set and identify duplicate rows. That's why it's very good as a data analyst to have a keen eye to detail. Although this method is very straightforward, it's typically only suitable for small data sets because it's time consuming. For instance, if you decide to use visual inspection to identify duplicates in a data set with 2 million entries, you'll use so much time. So in that case, you might consider using more automated techniques. Also, visual inspection can be sufficient to identify duplicates when the dataset has a simple structure with a limited number of columns and no complex relationships between these columns. Also, in cases where data quality is critical and a high level of accuracy is required, visual inspection can provide a level of scrutiny than automated methods or that automated methods may not achieve. So you can also use them together. You can use an automated method, then use the visual inspection to confirm that your method identified all the duplicates. So what is the process you can follow when conducting a visual inspection to identify duplicates? So the first key step is to review the data structure in order to understand that data structure fully, which now including understanding the number of columns, different data types, and any unique identifiers within the data set. Because when using visual inspection, one thing that can help you a lot is having a unique identifier or maybe a product ID row, a column, sorry, because it's a unique identifier. If you were to sort it either in some order, either ascending or descending, uh, any duplicate rows will be closer to each other, so it will be very easy to note them. So in that case, after reviewing the data structure, the next step, which is usually optional, is sorting the data. You can sort it based on one or more columns. Particularly, you can sort it based on a column with unique identifiers. After sorting the data, you can scan each row at a time while now marking or removing duplicates. You can choose to mark them for further investigation or to remove them, depending the with the individual analyst or the kind of analysis they want to perform on the data. Now you have the other step is to keep repeating the process until you have gone through all the rows. Also, after identifying the duplicates, it's good practice to verify the results to ensure that no valid data have been mistakenly identified as a duplicate. Cool. So what are some of the advantages and limitations when using the visual inspection? It doesn't require any computational resources because you are not using any automated model or mechanism. So that makes it suitable for small scale analysis. Also, it does not require any specialized tools. Anyone with keen eye to detail can easily scan through the rows and identify duplicates. Also, it allows for flexibility in identifying duplicates, as human judgment can be used to determine what constitutes a duplicate. Some of the limitations include it can be extremely time consuming, especially for large data sets. Also, given that the identification in this case of duplicates is subjective, meaning it relies on human judgment, it may vary from person to person, which means in that case, the results will differ because someone might consider a certain row to be duplicate, but another person considers it not to be duplicate for various personal reasons. Also, this method is not scalable. It means it's not practical for large data sets. The other method, which is more automated but very simple, is exact match, where you use an automated mechanism to identify and remove all the duplicates. So one disadvantage of this method is you cannot verify the duplicate rows, because once you use the method, the Excel will automatically identify the duplicate rows using, but it will identify rows that match exactly. So for data sets that does not have a unique identifier, rows can match exactly, but they are different. Maybe they are not, but they might be different because let's say you have a data set with some information about customers. Unless you have a unique identifier, like maybe the email, the name, and other details can match exactly for two different customers. So that's one of the disadvantages of using the exact match, but it's very simple. I'll do just a small demonstration of how you can go about it. If these have some duplicates, let me assume it has. Let's assume I'm working with this data and I want to use the exact match method to remove duplicates. This identifies and remove the duplicates without giving you the chance to verify. So it's in the data tab, data cleanup. First hide these tab, drop all the way to data cleanup, and there's an option for removing duplicates. That please like the so I need to first. I think if I click on one cell, let me see if it will work. Or I need to first select. Yeah, you only need to first click on one cell within the data set before going to the data tab. So it have automatically selected all the columns. If there are columns you don't want to check, you can remove them. In this case, let's use all the columns. So it has a total of 117 and 29, or 17,029 rows and 7 columns. So once you click on remove duplicates, it will scan through the data set and automatically remove all the duplicates. In this case, no duplicates were found. But if there were, the Excel would automatically remove the duplicates. It's that simple and straightforward. Great. I have just in this slide, I have it's just an elaboration of what I have just demonstrated. some of the disadvantages and advantages. Those are things you can go over. Um, we can go to the next technique of identifying duplicates, which is using the COUNTIF function to count the occurrence of each individual row or value in a certain data set. So the counting function in Excel is a versatile tool that allows users to count cells in a range based on a specific condition. So this function is particularly useful when identifying duplicate rows in a data set, as it can be used to check if a certain combination of values appears more than once. So the syntax of the function, it takes two parameters, the range and criteria. So the purpose of this function is to count the number of cells in a range that meets a specific condition or criteria. So we'll first work with a very simplified data set to see how we can apply the counting function to check for duplicates. Let's assume we have, this is just a very simplified data set with only one column with country names. I want to use first use this simplified data set for demonstration because it will be easy to understand before we go to a more complex data sets with several columns. So we can use the COUNTIF function. We can use it in combination with conditional formatting, and we can first count and the occurrences of each and every row, the unique occurrence of each and every row, recall the count, then use the count to highlight the duplicates. So let's first use the conditional formatting. So this row format, I believe everyone remembers how we use conditional formatting. In this case, I want to check if any value in column A, in this data set, we only have one column. I want to check if there are some values that appear more than once. So I'll use a custom formula for that. So I want to check the entire range of the data set, which runs from A1 to A14. So is equals to count if that's the function name. The range will, let me just check the entire column. So A all the way to A. With that, it will check the entire column. I can also specify I wanted to check from A1 all the way to A14. I think it will serve the same purpose. And that's the range. And I want to check for condition. I want to check but if I want to check if any of the rows or values occur more than once. So I want to iterate from A1 all the way to the last row, which is in this case is A14. So I will tell Excel to start at A1 and it will keep iterating and keeping a count, then to check if the count is greater than 1. Yeah, it should highlight in this cell that occurs more than once. Didn't work. Just use the entire range of, yeah, that will work. So if I specify for, I didn't know that. I think we have to specify the entire range of that column for it to work. As you can see, let me click done. It has highlighted any country that appears more than once, like Canada appears in row 1 and row 12, Egypt in row 3, row 6, and 13. For Benin, it only appears once. That's why it's not highlighted. With that, that's how you can use a combination of conditional formatting and countive function to identify and highlight duplicates. Great. The other method we can use the countive function to count the number of which each unique row appears in the data set. So I'll use the same approach is equals to count if the range and count then have this range. See if that will work. The criterion I want to run from first cell. That should work. Yeah. From this, you can see Benin appears once, Malawi once, Egypt thrice. So now you can use this column to highlight the duplicates in the first column. I believe we did similar thing yesterday. Let's remove these. Now use the count column. Like that, format, conditional formatting. So I can use the formula to highlight is equals to P1 is greater than 1. So that it checks in column B, if the value in column B is greater than 1, it will highlight the corresponding value in column A. Perfect. That's a very simple way of using the counting function to identify and highlight duplicates. Now let's look at a more complex data set with several columns. Use these with a fewer number of rows. Ooh. So I want to use the countive function. Again, to count. Someone wants to ask something. Yes, Edgar.
Okay, Isaac.
Yes.
I don't know if it was me.
Okay.
I thought like maybe if you could have shared the data, the Excel, so that we work together instead of just watching.
In that case, let me share the second. Sorry for that. I believe I think the first was easy to understand. So let me share the link to the second database I'm working with. Title it. Let me share the link. You can make a copy because it's only viewing only, so that we don't edit the same. So I didn't copy the link. The link is sending. It's delaying. Yeah, there's the link. Anyone who wants to follow through, you can open that link. Great. As we do that, let me wait for anyone interested in first obtaining the dataset to finish doing that. Just a minute. So now in this case, we have dataset with 6 columns. And we want to use all the 6 columns to identify or to decide if a given row is duplicate. So all the values for all the duplicate rows must be similar for all the columns for it to be considered a duplicate row. Because in this case, we don't have any unique identifier. We have a maybe it's a dummy data set for a car selling company. It have the car model, car type, price, okay, type twice. This will be the body shape. Yeah, the year of manufacture and date sold. So we don't have any unique column because the 2 cars can have the same, can belong to the same model, they can be of the same type, they can fetch the same price, they can be of the same body shape, they can be of the same year of manufacture. Also, they can be sold on the same day. So we don't have any unique identifier. So to qualify a row as a duplicate, it has to match the columns. So I want to first try to do that. We first need to concatenate the values of each column for each individual row. Then calculate how many times they occur. Let me first try to, instead of using the array formula to do that, I want to first try, I don't know if this will work. Let's try it out. So I want to use the counting function again. In this case, I'll take the range of, I want to start iterating from row number 2 because row number 1 is the title or the header row. So in this case, the first parameter, the range, will take all the 6 columns, the same as criterion. So first, the first column should run out from A1 or from A2 all the way to A26. Because I want to keep iterating and concatenating the values for each and every individual column. So I'll use the and sign, go to the second column, do the same. And same for the third column and the fourth. And we'll repeat the same for the 6 columns. And then comma, the second argument. So I want to tell Excel to start from the second row for the columns. So I'll take that and that and that and that, that. Okay, I can click on enter. That occurs once. I hope this will work. Oh, no, it didn't. Seems that won't work. There are some duplicates in this data set, so somehow it didn't work perfectly. I think we can research more on that. Let me use the longer method that I was trying to avoid. We first use an array formula and create a new column with a concatenated string. Now concatenating all the values in each and every column. I don't know why this didn't work. I thought it would. I think I need to refresh more on that. So let me first use the long method. We'll come back to that. So let me first delete everything. Let's create a column. Just name it concatenated column. So in this new column, I want to combine the values of each row from columns A to F. I want to combine them together into a single string separated by hyphens, so that now I can count the occurrence of each and every string, because I don't know why the shorter method didn't work. Maybe I And it worked when I was teaching the previous cohort. I don't know. Maybe Excel have evolved ever since, and I didn't know. So I'll check more on that. So we'll use a longer method. We'll first use the array formula to combine as I said, to combine the values of each row from each column, that's from column A to F, into a single string that is separated by hyphens. So use an array formula. It takes one parameter. So I want to combine from all the cells from A to space, and I want to separate them using a hyphen. Put a hyphen inside a quotation marks. So I need first it's A, and so I want to keep concatenating all the values for each and every column. So, and again, because I'll keep repeating this, let me copy it to make it simpler. So, and E2 and C2 and E2 2. Okay. So that will create a single string for the values separated by hyphens. Or what it has done to the dates. So that I can populate for the other columns. Rows I mean. So with that concatenated string, now we can count the occurrence of each. How many times does each concatenated string occur? So that now I can use the counting function to count those occurrences. So it's equals to if I want to use this range from H2 all the way to H26, comma, and started from H2. Yeah, that worked. So now you can be able to see the first unit, which is a Mercedes C200, appears once. Honda CRV twice. The Beamer 1 series drives. Now you can be able to get the duplicate, so you can go ahead and use conditional formatting to use column I and conditional formatting. You can use the custom formula. It's equals to is greater than 1. Yeah, cool. With that, you have been able to identify all the duplicate rows and highlighted them. But we have one problem. If we do a visual inspection, you can see the BMW, which is repeated severally. Yeah, the BMW 1 series is repeated in row 25 and row 24, sorry, and row 26, but the count is 1. The reason, let's assume when entering the dataset, for the car shape, instead of the hatchback was misspelled for 1 unit. And that's one challenge of using automated methods. It can't account for typos, because you can see the reason it has counted them as unique entries is because they don't exactly match, because there was mistype for 1 entry. So ideally it's a duplicate, but in that case, you can't catch it using the automated methods. So that's why sometimes you have to combine the automated and visual search if it's possible. The dataset is not so large. Or if you have in a dataset with a unique column, that's easier, because you use that unique column to identify duplicates with instead of using all the columns. I hope that was well understood. It's a longer method. I don't know why the shorter method refused to work, but we are here to learn. You can I will also try to look into it why it failed to work, and I'm not in any hurry. You can also go and learn more about application of countive function to detect duplicates. Perfect. So in this case, we had to combine 2 functions, which is the array formula and countive function. But I hope everyone was able to understand the concept. And with that, I can proceed. I had demonstrated how we highlight duplicates in Excel using conditional formatting. I think I have done that severally. So this is in Excel. We will follow it through for someone using Excel. There's an easier method of doing that we cannot do on Google Sheets. Google Sheets doesn't have all the functionalities of Microsoft Excel. So anyone using Excel can follow through the remaining slides. Just they're well illustrated with screenshots. And I believe we can call it a day. The rest are things we have done these. So we'll just go over the Excel part, which is 3 slides. Yeah, I think with that we can call it a day. Let me organize for the quiz as usual. So don't leave before you attempt the quiz and sign the attendance sheet. The link to the quiz is already in the chat box. Kindly go ahead and log in. Once you're done attempting the quiz and filling the attendance form, you are free to drop off the call. So that marks the end of today's class. Mine is to wish you a beautiful evening. See you tomorrow. Uh, Let me send the quiz link. There it is, anytime. So see you tomorrow, guys.
Stop listening to self-proclaimed gurus that promote get-rich-quick PDFs. Don't throw your money at them. Be like Paul. Change your life.